America has taken the biggest decision it could have possibly taken in relation to Syria. It has decided that the Syrian government has used chemical weapons against its own people, and therefore the rebels need help to overthrow that government. That help will be military aid. That help will mean that America is intervening in the Syrian situation with arms, possibly with a no-fly zone, which will mean that American fighter jets, British fighter jets, French fighter jets will be patrolling the skies of Syria. Those rebels on the ground will be fighting against the army of Bashar al-Assad and his militias. Those militias are assisted by Russia, they're assisted by Iran, and they're assisted by Hizbollah, the Lebanese militia, which is also backed by Iran. That means that there are two sides in this war. On one side we have Iran, Russia, and Shia militias from around the Middle East. On the other side we have the West, and we have their allies in the Gulf and Saudi Arabia. This has brought the conflict in the Middle East to its ultimate fruition, and there will be a regional war. The cause of the change in policy is that the President has determined that Bashar al-Assad crossed a red line set down by the international community or by the West. That red line was that he must not use chemical weapons against his own people. Since the President has now issued an instruction to the US government that Bashar al-Assad has done so, it means that the US government must now move to assist its allies on the ground in Syria, the Syrian rebels. So they will look for ways in which they can give them assistance, and ultimately they have decided that the rebels must win. That therefore means that this is pretty much an open-ended commitment. The Syrian conflict has been going on for 27 months now. There has been a lot of talk for a long time about when the West will intervene, about how the rebels can be assisted, about which rebels to assist, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. And when you start giving assistance, how do you make sure that the weapons that you give, or the weapons that you make sure are sent into Syria, stay in the right hands and don't leak into those groups that are essentially associated with Al-Qaeda. Even though America and Russia still say they are committed to a diplomatic approach, they are both sponsoring talks between the rebels and the government, known as the Geneva talks, Geneva II, because there was a previous round of talks. Those talks would essentially see the Syrian government agree to a transition with the rebels and some form of new government established in Damascus. It's very difficult to see those talks smoothly going ahead now that both sides have so clearly drawn distinctions between who they support. So I think this will be greeted with horror in Russia, and the prospects for that diplomatic outcome are very slim.